Hello and welcome to Low Budget Gaming and welcome to another first Descendant video. So I wanted to revisit GLEY and see how she is right now because a couple of months ago GLEY was the meta for Void Erosion Purge, for killing the Defiler boss, the Abyss boss, even Tormentor. So she was very powerful and she's still very good. However, the Void Erosion Purge stages, for example, have been nerfed quite a bit. The new Ice Maiden boss is slightly different, so she isn't getting as much use. But I'm still using her for clearing all the Colossus solo to get the crystallization catalyst, and occasionally I use her in Void Erosion for stage 30 as well, because why not? I want to shoot some guns occasionally. I normally play Viessa and spam skills and a little bit of the gun, or you can use Serena. So yeah, I'll show you a little bit of that as well, and I tried to do something different just to show you the difference of Void Erosion Purge when you don't have a Viessa or a Serena. So first, let's look at the bossing setup here. And there are one or two things to keep in mind, especially with Gluttony, because Gluttony can get enraged. So even if you have a lot of power, you can still mess it up. So over here, we have Gluttony. I think he is not immune. So what we do is we engage our first ability, we activate the third, we hit the weak points, and we kill Gluttony. Now, in the lab, it's pretty straightforward. Doesn't take much to kill him, but when you're in the arena, he can get enraged. So you have to keep one or two things in mind. We did about 36 million damage. That is roughly what you need to take down Gluttony, 35, 36 million. So that is not a problem. Let me actually get him in here and make him immune. So you'll see how much damage we do with one duration of our third skill. Because we do a lot more than 36 million. Okay, so let me just reset everything. Okay, now we do the same thing. We activate our third and we'll shoot until we run out of our time on the third ability. 131 million. So we only need 36. We are doing almost 100 million more. And of course, with a few tweaks to the mods, we can do even more. But do we really need to? Now, so this is Gluttony in the lab here. Let me show you Gluttony in the arena and what you need to keep in mind so that you don't mess things up. All right, with Gluttony, you have to just wait a little bit before shooting. He jumps down and he does a scan, looks from left to right, and then you start shooting. Because if you shoot too early, he will get enraged. I'll show you both situations. So he comes down, okay? He'll scan from left to right. Wait. He goes back, punches his right arm, and then you start shooting, okay? If you do this, I see consistent results of taking him out comfortably. Okay, now what I'll do is I'll repeat this and I'll show you the mistake that you can make, because I tested this like 20 times earlier today just to confirm. If you go a little early, he'll get enraged. All right, so this time I'll show you what happens if you go a little too early. We activate our first, and what we'll do is we'll activate our third immediately and we start shooting. Okay, and notice he gets immune. He gets into the immunity phase because we went early when we started shooting. All right, so this time we'll do the same thing. We'll wait until he finishes his scan. And for me, the point where I start shooting is when he sort of punches his right arm after finishing the scan. That's when I start shooting. So we activate our first, we wait, okay, he scans left to right, punches his arm. Now we activate our third and we start shooting. You can see we kill him more consistently. Now, the reason why I'm going to all this effort and showing you this multiple times is in the past, I've made videos taking out bosses, and with Gluttony, I often get comments from people saying, you are lying, he always gets enraged. I'm using literally the same build as you are using, but he gets enraged every time I do it. So this is the reason. You have to wait for him to finish his scan, and then he should be fine. Occasionally, you will go a bit early or something, and this is also random. The frenzy state of the boss, the number that causes the boss to get into the frenzy is a bit random, so you may still end up doing that. But I've tested this about 20 times, maybe more, just for this video, and every time I went early, he was getting enraged. Every time I waited, he was getting killed. Like, I did not have a single frenzy moment when I waited. So yeah, let me know what your experience is. Anyway, let's go back to the lab, look at the builds. Right, back to the lab. Let's quickly go over the build. Now, most of the build is pretty much identical to what we were using a couple of months ago. Only difference is now we have Arche Tuning and things like that. So for the Descendant module, I'm using, you can see I call it Abyss GLEY for the Defiler and Tormentor boss. Literally the same build, no changes. What we are doing is we are focusing on putting as much power into the gun and increasing our duration for the third ability to be more than the cooldown. So you can see I have a 9.8 second cooldown and the duration is 10.1 seconds. Okay, so that means your third will be firing and you'll have the cooldown available as soon as you're done. You restart your third and you keep shooting. Okay, now we have one HP mod, one Battle of Stamina. This is also HP, but we are taking it for the duration. We have short focus to give more power to the gun at the expense of skill power modifier because we are not using skills, we are using the gun. MP conversion for cooldown, maximize duration with maximize duration. We have skill extension for more duration, nimble fingers for more cooldown. We have focus on non-attribute just for the cooldown. We don't need the power. Okay. And then we have two of these mods, and what they do is this one, it consumes more of our HP, reduces our HP. And the reason why we are doing it is this one here. When the HP is below 50%, we do 30% more firearm attack. Firearm attack increases by 30%. As for the components, we're using 4 pieces of the Annihilation. And once again, the reason for this is we get 5.7% duration, which comes to about 0.3 seconds. So we get more duration on the third. And also with the 4 pieces, firearm attack increases proportionally to the max HP to HP loss. So the more HP you lose, the more firearm attack increases. Okay, so that is also useful. Now, the other thing to keep in mind is GLEY doesn't have shields, GLEY doesn't have MP. So the external components will be different. So over here, I've gone with defense, max HP, and I've taken fire resistance. Over here, once again, we don't need MP. Normally, we have MP recovery in combat and MP, max MP. So we are using HP recovery because she has HP, and I've put chill resistance. Over here, we have defense and electric resistance. Once again, this would normally have MP recovery modifier or something like that. And then finally, we have toxin resistance, and I've put equipment drop rate increase modifier because normally I use max shield and shield recovery modifier, but she doesn't have shield. So different setup here. But the point is we want 4 pieces of Annihilation. Reactor is not important because again, it's based on the duration and cooldown. Okay, so we have cooldown and duration stats. The mounting, handgun, none of that matters. You just need the cooldown and duration so that you can balance your third ability. Okay. Now for the Arche tuning, this is the new stuff compared to the previous videos. You can do something like this. Okay. I'm not taking the mutant cell because there isn't really anything that is useful. Most of the mutant cells act on your skills. Okay. Something like defense neutralization would have been useful if you were using skills to do damage. With GLEY, it doesn't work out. You can use defense neutralization for Haley, for example, use the first ability that will help. But here for GLEY, we are just focusing on the gun. Now, I've not used multi-hit on this occasion because Dagger has very little multi-hit. With Serena, it can still work. I've seen people use multi-hit on the Dagger with Serena, but Serena works differently, so I don't want to confuse you. We are just taking all the things that give us more power. So for bossing, we take this side, we take all the crit damage. We don't need crit rate because the Dagger will go to 100% crit based on its unique ability. We take all the big firearm attack nodes, the gold one here, purple one here, purple one here, purple one here. We take all of that and we take a little bit of aiming, accuracy improvement, weak point, and yeah, that is basically it. We don't need advantage affinity because this will change depending on the enemies. We don't need more ammo or something like that. So, and we don't need a crit rate. So yeah, this is the setup for the Arche tuning. For the Inversion Reinforcement, again for GLEY, we only really need the fire rounds or whichever boss you're fighting. So if it's Gluttony, you take the fire. If it's Molten Fortress, you take the chill and so on. And the rest of it is just optional. You can take whatever you want. I've just put HP here. And this isn't really useful. But yeah, you can take any of those. For the gun itself, this is where it gets interesting. So for the rolls first, I've taken firearm attack. I've taken bonus firearm attack versus Colossus. Firearm critical hit rate, critical hit damage. Critical hit rate is maybe not necessary. You could take weak point instead, or if you wanted an element, you could do that. I wanted to keep this gun as a sort of a neutral setup, so I can just switch the mods inside, matching the element weakness to the boss, and the rest of it could be standard. Then we go up top here in the cores. We need 2 fire rate cores for GLEY, the green ones, 2 firearm attack cores, the orange ones, and we need in the free slot you can go with the crit damage, you can go with the Colossus damage. I actually have one with Colossus damage. So this one here, for example, no, not this. Yeah, bonus firearm versus Colossus, and once again we have the Colossus firearm attack. Either is fine. Like I said, we need 36 million. Let's actually put this one in the lab and show you how much this one is doing. Colossus Gluttony, keep him immune, and we do the same thing. We got like 130 million, 129 million last time with the other one. This one should be about the same, maybe a little more, a little less. 126 million, so more or less the same. So you can pick whichever you want. The other one gave us a little bit. This might be more important for an Abyss boss or something, but here is not that. So we were using this one, right? Okay, so this is the gun on the outside. Inside here, what I'm using is rifling reinforcement, action reaction, better insight, better concentration, concentration priority. We have 2 weak point mods in weak point sight, have aiming, sharp precision shot, and fire enhancement. This is more of a preference thing. You can use mental focus if you want. I have used mental focus previously for the Abyss bosses because we need to do all the damage we can. But in reality, I don't really feel much of a difference. So if we put mental focus, let's see, we might get more damage this time. Let's just give it a try. But like I said, we only need 36 million damage. And if you're getting 130, 140 million, it's not really going to make much of a difference, is it? It's overkill. 150 million, yeah. So you can try this if you want it. So mental focus is giving you damage. So yeah, so that is basically the bossing side of this build here. And I use this every other day or something, try to farm a bunch of catalysts, at least 5 or 10 blueprints. Then I just keep, researching them. And then when I run out, I do it again. So that is basically the main use for GLEY right now. Now, if you want to use GLEY for Void Erosion Purge, you can make 1 or 2 changes. Firstly, we change the gun again. This time, because I have so many daggers for different purposes, I have one for this one here. This one is for GLEY and Void Erosion Purge 30 because the enemies are weak to chill. So I put chill instead of the Colossus or the crit damage. You can put crit damage as well, it will work. And I have chill over in the options as well for the weapon. I have weak point damage and we have crit damage, firearm attack. Okay, and inside you can use the same setup if you wanted. Yeah, I don't know why this got selected here, but yeah, you can use the same setup here. You can put another chill mod here if you wanted, but if you're going for Void Erosion Purge 30, aim for the weak points and try to basically focus on the elites. We used to also use things like Overwhelm. You could maybe try multi-hit a little bit, but the gun doesn't give you a lot of multi-hit. Overwhelm because the gun does pierce damage, okay? And the Void Erosion Purge 30 enemies are Legion of Darkness. So these guys, if you press tab, they are weak to chill and pierce, and this gun does pierce. So you can put the advantage affinity mod, this one here. You will get more damage if you do if you hit the weak point, okay? But if you miss, you lose stacks. But yeah, if your aim is solid and you can aim for the heads, this will be a good bonus for Void Erosion Purge 30. And of course, make sure to change the element to chill for that, for the enemies who are weak to chill. So basically, that is the setup. I'm just trying to remember what this build was. I think this was for Serena and the Void Erosion Purge challenge. Yeah. So you can see with Serena, you would need ammo because with 12 bullets, you'd be constantly reloading. That is the difference. But I have a different gun for Serena as well. On the outside, you need different cores and things. Basically, you need more ammo instead of 2 fire rate to make it work better. So that is the setup for Void Erosion or Stage 30. Only thing we are changing is instead of sharp precision or mental focus, you can go with Overwhelm. With the bosses, if the boss is also weak to Pierce, then you can use the same thing. I think Gluttony is weak to Crush, I think. Yeah, Gluttony is weak to Crush and Fire. So yeah, you won't get the advantage affinity. Now, as far as the Arche Tuning is concerned, only thing we need to change is we don't want this, we want this. Because again, advantage affinity comes into play. So you can use these because you're doing pierce damage, you take advantage of this, you get the bonus. We don't need the Colossus setup, we don't need the crit rate. Now, the reason I say we don't need the crit rate is if you activate your first and third. So basically, if you look at the gun here, we have 16.68 crit. Okay, is this the right gun? If we do this, we're getting the stacks. If you look here, we are at 100% crit rate. So we don't need any crit. We also don't need crit on the options here. Okay, so this will be fine. You'll get 100% crit when you're using Glazed third effect. So yeah, so those are the minor changes you need to make for Void Erosion Purge 30. For Glade, you don't need this Abyss setup where you have to reduce your health and stuff. You can go with something like this normal setup here. Get some HP collector, increase the duration. Once again, this is a gun build, not a skill build. We are using 2 mods to have HP here. We are using these 2 to get cooldown. Nimble fingers as well, range, duration. And so yeah, so the only difference with this one and this one is we are not using these 2 to lower her health and increase her damage. We are just sticking to giving her more health and using more cooldown. And this way, we are actually even better. We have 7.3 cooldown and 9.6 duration. And over here for the components is the same thing. Okay, so same annihilation set with the non-HP and non-MP roles. Reactor is the same. I think I've covered everything for the inversion. Yeah, again, keep this based on the enemy type. So if they are weak to chill, you go with this one. Over here, we can have HP here. We can also keep this to get a movement increase. And yeah, that is basically it for Void Erosion Purge 30 if you want to do Void Erosion Purge 30 with Clay. I'll leave you with the footage for Void Erosion Purge 30 with a Valby that I did because it's hard to find that without a Serena or a Viessa. And I wanted to test this in like a difficult situation where we're not getting the advantage of those 2. So you can see it takes a little longer. I think it took us 8 minutes, but you can still do it if you want a little bit of a challenge and you like shooting things. But yeah, that's it for this one. Thank you for watching and see you next time.